All right, guys, I've said it, I don't know, maybe a million times, but when it comes to crime, getting robbed, there is a big difference from actually traveling, coming on vacation to Costa Rica than there is actually living here. I would say living in Costa Rica, you need to be even more hyper vigilant than you do traveling here. We're going to get into all of it, all of it. Now, if you just happen upon this video and you want a vacation in Costa Rica, visit Costa Rica, but you haven't really traveled around, maybe this is your first time out of your country, and you want to have a safe trip, you don't have to want to worry about your passport getting stolen, I would recommend watching that video, which I'll have the link to the description. But this video is more about living here and dealing with the crime that is here. And we're going to get to all of that in a minute. Hey guys, I'm Michael Allen for TravelCostaRicaNow.com. TravelCostaRicaNow.com is a travel agency, so go to TravelCostaRicaNow.com, fill out the 4-minute form, and you'll be that much closer to the vacation of a lifetime like you. Having best friends who live in Costa Rica, who know Costa Rica, totally hooking up your Costa Rica vacation. Hey, if you haven't subscribed, please do. It really helps. And if you want to see videos as we put them up, hit the notification bell. I'm telling you, nobody's putting out these kind of videos. I think you're going to hear some things you probably haven't heard before. Might even piss you off a little bit. I'm not sure. But man, hit that notification bell. Oh, I like that April Fool's. Got some of you, didn't I? Okay, we've been hearing a lot. You guys live in the United States have been hearing a lot about the crime, and usually it's pertaining to travel. It's level 2, or there's more drugs here, blah blah blah. But I just want to make a huge distinction. Again, I think you can travel here with common sense, and you're not going to have a problem. You're going to have a great time. Living here is a different matter, and you better be hyper vigilant. And there's definitely some things you need to know if you're thinking about living in Costa Rica. So for this video, I want you to assume that crime is rampant, because I'm not debating this anymore with you, or those people that go, I know the way it happened to me, and Costa Rica is a cesspool of drugs and robberies. Okay, yes, you're right. You're right. So let's go with that. I would put forth a hypothesis that 98% of the things that happen as it pertains to getting robbed and crime, even with living here, don't have to happen. They don't have to happen. Now, yes, there's always that small percentage of randomness, which is going to happen anywhere. And I definitely don't want to victim shame, but I do want to kind of victim responsibility a little bit. So a lot of things just don't have to happen. If you're walking home at 3 in the morning and you're a little drunk, you might get robbed. If you didn't do that, you wouldn't get robbed. So kind of that kind of responsibility, and that pertains to actually living here too. Now, I would say every gringo that lives here, I would say has been, let's say, has had something taken at least once. It could be lumber from your construction site, dollar bill sitting on your counter, your phone, bigger items, maybe all kinds of stuff. I would say almost every gringo, and that would include me. I'm not pointing fingers, but I can tell you that everything that has happened to me has pretty much kind of been my fault. To be honest, I'm not going to get into all those stories because there's a few of them. And it's easy to blame. I can totally see why people go, oh, they took my money in Costa Rica, or I lived in Costa Rica for 2 years and I got robbed 3 times. That's a little easy to say. And if you got robbed 3 times, I bet I can find the reason you did, to be honest with you. So I think unless you're going to take responsibility, take a little bit of personal responsibility, not that you should be getting robbed. Okay, can we get off that premise? But we live in the, 2023, and beyond. Society's changed. So we're not going to change that. We can only change what we do. So you got to take some personal responsibility if you want things to change. And the other thing, the reason you got to take personal responsibility here is because the police aren't going to do anything. Nothing. Zero. Okay? Do you think I'm just saying that? Is that hyperbole? It is not. I'm sure people that comment on this video go, well, I didn't agree with some of the stuff he was saying, but he was right about the police. Now, I've said this a million times too. I actually like that. Now, I know a lot of people, that they're not, we're not all the same, right? I have, I got no problem with taking the law into my own hands. If I know the person that ripped me off, I ain't calling nobody. I got it. But I get it. Some of you, maybe you're older, you don't do that, or you're nice, or whatever you want, real justice. I get it. I'm just not quite, I'm not like that. But if you are like that and you expect, the police are working for you here and you're going to get justice here by the police, you will be sadly mistaken and extremely frustrated. So that right out of the gate, put the police, not going to help, not going to help. Now, here's just a few of the things. And now these can really expand. So, one of the things, who do you let in your house? Who is coming in your house? That can be the maid. That can be, maybe you live alone like me, and sometimes you have some people come over, if you know what I mean. Who are you associating with? Who are you associating with when you go out? Are you a drinker? Are you a drinker like me? Are you hanging out with maybe some unsavory characters sometimes, or some of these people becoming your friends? Are you making bad decisions when you're drinking, or maybe you do a little drugs or whatever it is you do? Now, you don't have to do the drinking or the drugs, but again, who are you letting in your house? Who are you trusting? Who are you trusting? Just who you telling your personal stuff to? Are you one of those people that you're just super nice and it's kind of easy, almost hard not to take advantage of you? Are you one of those people? If you are, you got to recognize that fact. Do you flaunt? Do you flaunt your money, your lifestyle? Do you flaunt? When you go to after you go to the ATM, or you like at the bar going, yeah, I got some money for tonight, and you're whoosh, flipping all the 20s or something. So some of those things, those are huge, especially the ones who you let in your house, because we're going to get into it in a minute. But I would say most of the stuff that happens is inside job stuff. But um, so who's ripping you off? What's going to happen if you actually live here? Who's coming in your house? Who's doing it? So here where I live in La Fortuna, this is a tourist town. We do have, there's definitely the whole crack thing is on the rise here a little bit with the onslaught of the pandemic and all that. Definitely more people a little bit out of work. You see this riffraff a little bit more. We have a more than a few after hours clubs. So sometimes you got random druggies, crackheads, drunks roaming around at 3 in the morning. They're out of their head, and they just, if your door was unlocked, they would come in. You know what I mean? Those guys. And I'm not saying, again, they're not around every corner, but remember, for this video, they're around every corner. They're around every corner. So those are the people, they're around. So you got to watch for those just drunks and drug addicts, because they're just out of their head and they just don't care. They can be looking at an alarm system and I'm still coming in your house type of person. Now, like I said, a lot of it's inside job stuff, but not how you necessarily think of an inside job. An inside job could be a very trusted maid, a very trusted, she's been cleaning your house. You like her. She's like family, but she's in conversation with her family. And she goes, oh, I love working for Michael. He's so nice. He's got such nice stuff. He's got this, his nice house. Man, he's got a cool safe too, man. I don't know. Just people could just be talking. Then all of a sudden it's a friend's cousin, sister's brother hears it. And it's like, hey, man, that's Gringo. What's his name? Michael. We should check out that house. So when I say inside job, I'm not necessarily saying the maid. I'm saying maybe it's an associate of a friend of another friend that heard some stuff about you, saw you at the ATM, saw you at the bar talking shit. It can happen that kind of way too. So that's what I mean when I say inside job. Again, and also that party atmosphere. You're out and about. A lot of things can. Let's just go with this. A lot of things can happen at 2 in the morning. You're around. You are in the element. If you weren't in that element, if you were home sleeping, you wouldn't have that story. Not saying you should be ripped off. So And then there is, I've heard a couple of these stories. There is that following people home, waiting for you to get home thing. So yes, that does happen. I know it does. I have had friends that has happened to. So those are kind of the main ones. Not saying there's not others. Those would be the main things. Now we're going to take a little hike outside. We're going to go over some of the things that you should be thinking about doing to help yourself because, there's a thief around every corner in Costa Rica. Okay, we're high tech here, so we're not even going to edit this. We're just going to go on outside. I want to show you a few things. Okay, let's get off my mug though. Jeez. All right, you guys going to be proud of me. Proud of me. The first thing you're going to want to do is secure your home. Check these out. I just got this, and I got one on that door as well. Outside, security gate, double locks. Now, I didn't really get these because I was afraid of somebody really breaking in. I just have some really cheap ass doors. You could literally probably just crash this door by putting your fist through it. So that's why I got those. I don't have motion lights, but all my neighbors have been here quite a long time. These people here leave on their backlight here. These people leave on their light. So I don't have to leave on my light. Obviously, you should think about cameras. And again, the more you have to protect, the more you might want to think about having. I do not have cameras. I've been thinking about getting one now. Again, I don't really have I don't really have anything. And since I live I'm not flashy, obviously. I ride around on an orange bike. Most people know about me with my little white t-shirts and stuff. So they're like, that gringo don't got nothing. And and actually I don't. At least not enough to really take your time to break in. You'd also want to think about your border, your perimeter. Now you can see I got that's barbed wire there. Pretty high thing right there, but there's a house on the other side. I've got actually a high wall there going up because there's another apartment place there. Now, a lot of people that have, how a lot nicer houses, I think it's hibiscus they use, but they'll crisscross hibiscus and it'll be a natural big fence, or they'll put things with thorns out there, or they'll just kind of privatize their property, which is, you definitely would want to do if you have a nicer place. And most people with nicer places do. Now, since I live in the back here, which I really like, most people don't want to venture into unknown territory. If they're going to break in, they usually would pick a well, not always, I guess, but I just feel like they don't really want to go somewhere like in the back where they're uncomfortable. All right. You should know about dogs. They're scared of dogs here, man. They are scared of dogs. They don't like them. So a dog's always going to be a bet. Know your neighbor. You don't have to hang out necessarily, but you should know your neighbors. They should know when you're leaving. You should probably notify them when you're leaving. And if you've got like one of those nicer places, I would probably say you should get a house sitter, somebody that can watch your house, or at least a neighbor that can really be hyper vigilant and watching yourself or watching your house for you. But again, if you're going to be gone for a long period of time, definitely think about a house sitter. Yeah, I got my bars painted too. I still have an ugly house, but I did get my bars painted here in the front. So I feel pretty good about that. Now, I wouldn't really get a house sitter because once I double lock these, you're just not going to come in here and break in. Again, this is a little cheap Tico house. Most people wouldn't, I think, take the time. They're probably thinking, and they're thinking correctly, that there's not a whole lot in here, maybe a computer. And they always tend to steal little things that they can carry real quick. Even TVs aren't that big to steal here anymore. It would be something little like jewelry or stuff like that. Now, I've always been, I'm going to think I've said this before, never gone anywhere without this. Now, I've been carrying a knife for years. I've never pulled the knife. All right. So there's a big difference. I'm a machete guy. So this is by my door. I would have no problem cutting off somebody's hand. um, so I think What was I going to say? I think the other thing is you kind of have, I would have no problem. Now, some people, I've been asked this a lot of times, like, what about guns? Can I get a gun down there? Actually, no, you can't. I mean, guns are really difficult. It's possible, but you can't actually just bring them in. Now, I again, like, the reason I don't care about the police that much, and you might, and I would definitely not tell you to do this. If I had a large property, an expensive property, we'll say, I would get a gun. And no, it probably wouldn't be legal. I would just get a gun because I'm not going out on my knees, if you know what I mean. So um, I would get a gun. Again, I'm not telling you to do that. I'm just saying what I do. But the other thing is, it's just maybe an aura also of how you are too. Again, if you're just, you invite all the riffraff in your house and they just know you as a nice person, or maybe you're a pushover. Um, I think I've always had like an aura around me that I'm not. Hey, I'm older now. I don't want to tussle. I don't really want to tussle. But I think people think, probably rightfully so, that I might have at least one screw loose, and they might be asking for a little bit more than they bargained for. I wouldn't. Again, I just wouldn't go. Wouldn't go out with, on my knees, I guess we're going to say. So, but I think if you do all those things, bars on your windows, motion lights, cameras, a secure border, a dog, know your neighbor, use a house sitter, and you know what? If you really got some money and property, maybe you get a fake safe. Maybe you have two safes. Have one safe, and when they open it, there's a bunch of old books in there, and you just say, these are just collector's items. These are worth, this is my passion. This is what I have. And then you have another safe with all your real valuables in it. There's all kinds of ways. You shouldn't get your valuables, even at gunpoint. If they came in your house and you didn't have the dog, you didn't have anything, you could at least have a fake, you know, uh, like fake books or fake baseball cards that go, yeah, these are worth thousands. They take them, and then your other stuff is hidden even better or in another hidden safe or something. So there's a lot of things you can do. And again, if you do all these things, or even most of these things, it's just not going to happen. It might happen by, like I said, that person come in your house and maybe you wouldn't normally let in, but and then they go in your bathroom and they take your cologne. Yes, that kind of stuff. I can accept that. That's cool. You can take my cologne if you want. So what I would love to hear is, man, and you could also, if you really got a big house, put your safe room in, do a Jodie Foster, whatever that movie was called. So, there's a lot of ways, and it just doesn't have to happen. And if you got one of the big houses, I would say it's going to either be inside job stuff or somebody following you home or waiting for you home because they know what you have, or they know who you are, or if you leave, they know who you are and they know you're gone. Those are probably the biggest things to watch out for. You got to be super hyper vigilant. So please, man, leave your comments. What did I miss? What don't you agree with? Whatever you want to do, please comment, because I think it helps everybody. Because there's really not a person around every corner, though. I might have been lying about that. Anyway, guys, I'm Michael Allen, travelcostarica.com. Peace, guys. Hope it helps. If you're thinking about living or traveling anywhere, you should always do your homework and research. And if it's Costa Rica, I'm going to say my videos. Ciao.